Greetings, August 19th, late afternoon, probably be 8 o'clock when you see this. These are orchards and vineyards in the Okanagan, actually in Summerland, looking to the east over the lake towards Naramata. A lot of smoke and haze in the area, orange cast in the sky. If you need to know why this is happening, go to the links below in the description. BC Wildfire Service, there's the map of British Columbia. Those are indications of fires. A lot is going on in central British Columbia, southeastern British Columbia, and up in the northwestern patch of British Columbia. Also fires sprouting out from lightning in the northeastern portion of the province. So let's go to the infrared and see what's going on. The province is throwing off a lot of heat right now. There's all these little spot fires and holdover fires from lightning strikes, and many have developed into larger fires of concern. I've taken off the perimeter indications, and now we're going to look at what's happened in the last 12 hours. A lot of heat, a lot of volatility in all these major fire pockets. What happens if we look at just the last 6 hours? It appears that there has been little or no activity in the last 6 hours. So all that heat in the previous 6-hour period could be a lot of planned ignitions in order to reduce fire around these perimeters. More worrisome is that there's so much smoke and haze and cloud that it's completely obscured all infrared from the sensors, but that's unlikely. So in the meantime, for the data that we're tracking, it looks like the two new hotspots are on Vancouver Island, southwest of Wass, and Eastgate out in Manning Park. We should start seeing more hotspots after the heat of the day. Later in the evening, it starts showing up on the infrared, so I'll check back later. Going back to BC Wildfire, looking for new starts. This is the northern portion of the province. Not a lot of activity there, but in the central portion on Nazco Plateau to the west of Prince George, there's two new hotspots there. I see also one to the far east of Prince George. No indicated cause as of yet, and both no real size specified. Essentially, they're on the books, so check BC Wildfire and find out what's in your area if there are new starts. I like to do that every morning, every evening. And then check the wind. Looks like 8 kilometers an hour coming from the northeast, so that's actually blowing this fire away from Prince George. We'll move west quickly, take a look around Francois Lake, Shovel Lake. 9 kilometers an hour coming from the north there. So depending on your position around these fire flanks, you want to be aware of what your access routes are and the direction that these fire flanks can travel. Moving south, we're looking at the Cariboo, the Thompson-Nicola area. No new starts really being indicated in the Cariboo. I am watching this one at Wild Goose Lake. That's 40% contained. There's 100% guard all the way around it. There were some planned ignitions today, but they put it off due to smoke. That's going to be an aerial hazard. So one to watch, but crews are on it. And if we look at Windy, a lot of this flow is coming from the north. It's bringing down smoke from the Nechako. But I want to draw your attention to a little bit of a weather pattern here. If you are on the east slope of a valley, the wind is coming from the west. And if you are on the western slope of a valley, the wind is coming from the east. And if you're driving up the Coquihalla, as seen in this image just a few moments ago from Drive BC, the smoke is coming straight at you. But don't get disheartened if you can make your way up to Salmon Arm. There's a bit of a blue sky. I see some shadow on the north side of that truck. So there's going to be variation, clearing in some areas, and then more density in the valley pockets. We've moved to the southwest. This is Vancouver Island. Looking at these new starts, they're caused by lightning, and they may be holdover fires that have kind of festered for a few days after the lightning went through. One of those is up to 15 hectares already. So that's something to watch. Most of the wind coming on Vancouver Island is coming from the north, and that may actually push the smoke away from you if you're further south on the island. 11 kilometers an hour from the northwest. This is just south of Highway 19 west of Was. Let's move eastwards. There is a fire at Hicks Mountain, and that's kind of sitting at 155 hectares. That was actually started by a person. There's been so many started by lightning. Then we have this. Wind is coming from the west, 10 kilometers an hour, so that's hopefully eliminating some of the smoke, unless of course you're on the Agassis side. We've moved east again. We're looking at the area Highway 3. This is South Okanagan, the Old Tom Creek fire, 144 hectares. And wind in this area should be coming from the north, so it's pushing down smoke from those upper regions, plus whatever's settling in the valley from the fire at Eastgate and the fire at Keremeos, the one at Olalla. This is an image from Bromley Rock looking eastwards, Highway 3. This is on Drive BC, and yeah, smoke and haze in the distance on the highway, so visibility down, be careful. Jumping over to New Denver now, there's a new startup there. This is on the Slocan Lake, and no size indicated right now, looks like lightning, and that's at an area called Cane Creek. No new starts in the far southeast. They've got a lot of fires right down to the very edge near Waterton Lakes on the BC side of the border. So the province is covered north, south, east, west fires. And this is an image from Drive BC, Highway 95A, Black Bear Crescent, looking westwards towards some of that smoke at Kimberley. There is a fire at Meechin, which has caused an evacuation order around St. Mary Lake, but the smoke here may not necessarily be from that nearby fire. This could be coming from the Revelstoke area, so a lot of this haze is all intermingled. Okay, we're back looking at BC Wildfires map. Link is below in the description. This is an area around Castlegar, and we're looking to the west of Castlegar at the south end of Arrow Lake. There's 3 main fires in this region. There's also another fire to the south at the border, close to Christina Lake. Highway 3 is running east-west, about center of your screen. Then there's 2 fires even further west at Grand Forks. So if I'm living in this area, I want to go to BC Wildfires map, find out what's going on with those fires, click on the icons, get as much data as possible, and then jump over to the infrared, whether it's on the NRC or the RSAC or the Google Earth KMLs. Find out where the activity is, if I can see indications, hot spots, and their position relative to my position. I'm also noticing here there's a lot of controlled infrared signatures. This could be part of a planned ignition to reduce fuel within those fire perimeters. I also want to have a good understanding of the terrain in the area, which side of the valley is the fire on, and where are the tendencies for wind in that area. I also want to know what the vegetation is, what's between me and that fire zone. Then I'm going to jump over to Windy, put a pointer at my location and at the fire zone. I'm looking at northwest, 9 kilometers an hour. It's coming down the valley from west to east towards Castlegar. This is going to dictate my behavior. I'm going to analyze my routes I want to take, what resources I'm going to need, and then I'll jump over to Drive BC, look at some ground truthing. What is the cam telling me? There's smoke in the area, and it's blowing in this image. We're looking west on highway number 3, and it's coming from the right-hand side and blowing over to the left-hand side. Here's a similar scenario. This is Radium Hot Springs. There's a fire to the east of Radium. It's in the Rockies, and looking on the infrared, I can see there's 4 fire pockets, and there's a potential for them to make their way down the valley. So I'm jumping over to Drive BC, checking the highway cam. This is Radium, lots of smoke in the air, and if you look over to the right-hand portion of your screen, even more haze coming in. The winds are quite variable, but they are coming from the east over the Rockies at this point in time. And I just want to show you this scenario. On one side of the valley, the wind is coming from the west, and on the other side of the valley, the wind is coming from an easterly direction. So where my position is relative to all this information will help me decide my plan of action. Where's the fire? What's the fuel between me and it? Which way is the wind blowing? What are my escape routes? That's what I want to know. Please, everyone, be safe. Middle of the wildfire season. Thank you very much for watching. Keep your nose to the breeze and check in the description or in the comments. I'll put a menu in there so you can go right to the area of your concern. Again, be safe.